Hi, my name is Ronen Gordon, and I'm a drum instructor at the Musicians Institute in Hollywood, California. And today I'd like to share with you some tips and concepts and some basic ideas I use in my teaching here at the school. I'd like to share with you a very simple exercise I like to use with my students. This exercise helps them understand the feeling of every beat inside of a 4/4 time signature. Basically, what I'm trying to get them to understand is that if I put a metronome on, they can perceive that click in several ways, and each way they perceive the beat, or where the click is, changes the way certain beats feel. So the way 1 and 3 feels versus 2 and 4 is very different. So the exercise is very simple, and they can do it anywhere, and that's one of the advantage of this exercise. They can practice it anywhere. They don't need sticks. They just need just their hands. So basically what we're going to do is I would either put the metronome on. Once they get comfortable, they don't have to use the metronome. And the idea is to get them to tap half notes within the bar. So it can either be 1 and 3 or 2 and 4. So let's say they're starting on 2 and 4. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So they're getting used to the feeling of 2 and 4 as they're counting out loud. After a while, I'm trying to get them to change the 2 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 2, 1 and 3. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And go back. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. The exercise basically shifts their perception of where they are in the bar, but actually nothing is changing playing-wise. So they're getting used to perceiving time in a different way rather than actually playing it in a different way. A good method would be maybe to try and get them to do to point out a certain beat and say, okay, now let's call this beat 3, let's call this beat 4, let's call this beat 2. So I'm going to try and do that while I'm playing. I'm going to try and call the next beat and say, okay, now I'm going to switch this next beat and I'm going to name it the following. So let me explain. Let me show you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the next one is going to be beat 3. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Next one's going to be beat 4. 4, 2, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. The next one's going to be 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Next one's going to be 4. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on, and just try and kind of have them, okay, look at the next bar, switch that next beat to a different position within that frame. So that's a great exercise, kind of to start messing around with their minds and getting them to perceive time in different ways. Here are some of the methods I like to use when I'm practicing with my students. So one way, let's say we're practicing reading combinations of quarter notes, eighth notes, and 16th notes. I would ask them first to subdivide the smallest subdivision in the bar, and then just clap the exercise. So they would count 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and so on. I'm trying to see if they're able to count while they're actually clapping the exercise. So the advantage is that they can do this anywhere. They don't need to sit on the kit. They don't need a pad. They don't need a pair of sticks. One thing to pay attention to when they're subdividing smaller notes is that to get them to actually accent every syllable. So instead of saying 1 E and a, 2 E and a, where it's kind of everything is smooth, try and get them to actually feel the 1 E and a, 2 E and a. So it's a little bit more mechanical, but it helps them feel the spot where every subdivision happens. So once they're comfortable subdividing the smallest subdivision, we would read the same passage. This time we are subdividing eighth notes. So we're moving up one subdivision family. So it would be the same. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and so on. Trying to see how they're timekeeping. I'm not asking them to tap anything right now. It's just everything is verbally. The timekeeping is actually in their mouth. So once they get comfortable with that, we move on to the next subdivision, counting quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so once they feel comfortable, you can take that even further and ask them to count half notes or whole notes, and that is more beneficial when we're dealing with reading faster tempos. Usually I like to start in slower tempos because there's so much space between the notes. I want them to feel every small part of that space. When we're reading fast passages, there's less time between the notes, so it's beneficial to actually think slower. So when we play slow, we think fast to fill up that space. When we play fast, we want to think slow so we have a more overview of things as they go by. All right, so that's one method. The second way is to actually get the students to say the notes that they are supposed to play. So if they have a bar with a quarter note, 2 eighth notes, 4 16th notes, and an eighth note rest and an eighth note, they would actually have to say 1, 2, and 3, E, and A, and. So they would just say the notes that they're supposed to play. So we would put a metronome on, and now there's a timekeeper, and their job is to just say the notes that they're playing. 1, 2, and E, A, 1, E, and A, 3, and E, and A, 1, A, and E, 4, E, and A, and so on. So as they're counting, they have to kind of keep track of what's happening, and they're using their mouth as the player of the reading exercise. And again, it's a great tool because now they can just practice it anywhere, and we don't have to hear the excuse, I didn't have time to practice reading. And the last method is trying to move them away from thinking of drumming as just attack. Basically, we have a problem where when we're playing, we have very little connection to the duration of notes. So there are no long notes. Everything is just a dot in time. So what I try to do is to get them to sing. So obviously, we're drummers, so we don't feel comfortable singing. But even if it's just going ta, extending the note and actually understanding the length, the difference in length between the different notes. So giving a full value to a quarter note or giving a full value to an eighth note versus a 16th note. And all of a sudden they become a lot more sensitive to the difference between the notes. They need to understand the difference between the length of notes, and that just translates more into a musical approach rather than more of a technical approach to reading. So those 3 methods, I hope you'll find them helpful and useful, and try them out with your students, and good luck.